These kind of moves that are made behind the scenes by the elites to manifest themselves in control of our media paved the way for the false left-right paradigm and this whole puppet show, like a pro wrestling kind of a joke, soap opera, if you will, with these elites, and looking like there's an issue and that someone's threatened, and oh, well, what about this, and analyzing these little menial aspects rather than focusing on the root issues. The symptoms will continue to be promoted through the media rather than getting to the bottom of things and really getting to the root causes.
Yeah, they use the media to kind of, disguise things that are going on and confuse people and make it so that people don't actually realize what's going on, rather than doing what you're supposed to do and try and enlighten people and give them information that will make them think and prod their ideas in order to grow a better society. So really the worst part about them having control like this, these monopolies, this media monopoly, is that they don't use it for good purposes. They use it for their own purposes, which often have evil backings behind it.
Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and this power base that they have in our media is bound to be corrupt and a focal point for people that want to promote their agenda. And we've seen it quite clearly throughout history. They have no interest when they control the media systems to enlighten you as to what that they're doing, creating wars and sacrificing people and all the blood and sweat throughout history in order to promote their agenda. And that is why this is an important moment in history. This is our guest, Joe Shermis. He is the publisher and founder of Steelhead Special, a local working class cultural and literary review. The website is steelheadspecial.com. He's worked as a welfare rights advocate and has also had experience later in management and advertising with other various organizations. And he's our guest today. Nice to have you here, Joe.
Welcome, Joe.
How did the impetus of Steelhead come about, and about when was that?
The Steelhead started in 1991, and truth is, it was born in a bar between this couple from New York City and my former founding editor, Crawdad Nelson.
Huh.
And they talked about it, and the way they presented to Crawdad that he was the perfect person to be the editor of a working class cultural and literary review. And he agreed with them that he was. He had that kind of experience, and he said, but we would need somebody to, sell advertising and take over the administrative kind of thing, since you guys don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So he approached me, and I was down with that. I just graduated from college and was busy being a single parent and not really sure what to do with myself when that opportunity presented itself. And I jumped on it and, went out and introduced myself to every business owner in the area and offered to give them the opportunity to support us, and people stepped up, and this community decided that alternative press was something that was important, and it's been a blessing that the business community in general, the small business community in this area, has supported definitely Steelhead and alternative press in general, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's almost like having like a local community currency, almost, is like communally circulating funds, so that way you have like some kind of financial strength to fight against tyrannical corporations, right, and that kind of.
Because information is the true currency.
Yeah. So Thomas Jefferson, correct? That's
right. He said that, and that's how I've tried to participate in the whole idea of media and the flow of information, with that thought in mind.
So what is your paper, your magazine, your journal, what is it all about, and where does the term working class cultural and literary review come from? The term.
It came about because working class, the founding editor, my partner at the time, Crawdad Nelson, had been a mill worker. Mm-hmm. And his idea was that was the voice that needed to be represented. And I completely agreed with that, and to me, working class meant getting out and working and hustling up the funds and doing the work to make this happen. So we did that, and we put out a magazine. He was the editor for 29 issues, and we really focused on being a literary magazine. We focused on the poetry aspect a lot. We focused on working people's stories. There was great fiction in it. And then after 29 issues, he went his way, and Amelia Barol became the editor. And Amelia was very much an environmentalist. Mm-hmm. And she did a lot of things with Earth First and environmental issues, and we went into the science of watershed analysis and things like that, prescribed burning, you know, and we got into the science of it. It was a really good era for the Steelhead. And then after 10 years, she went her way, and then I did a best of 10 years issue that had to do with exerting the last 10 years, best of, you know, things that they had done. And then after that, I used guest editors to do it for a while, and then I've pretty much done it myself since about the 45th issue or so.
Right on.
You know, and I've been the editor of it, and it's been exciting. It sometimes takes me years to come out, but at this point I'm on a track where I'm coming about every 6 months.
Nice.
You know, and I feel like I've got a flow to it.
It's a very comprehensive journal, though. You have articles from all over the place. People submit things to you. There's poems, like you said. So it's a lot of work that goes into it.
It is a lot of work, but, you know, what's it about? The question that you ask is each and every issue has a theme.
Okay.
Issue 48, I was working at the Peace Resource Project, selling bumper stickers and things like that, and 9/11 Truth Resource items, DVDs, books, and such. And so I decided to do an entire issue on 9/11 at that point, and that was to me really the cutting edge of truth and awareness. And then for issue 49, my friend Eileen McGee jumped on that with doing a music issue. And we worked on that together for a year. And during that time I also started putting together issue 50, which of course was also on 9/11. And to me that was where to focus my consciousness at that point.
Definitely.
So those two issues happened simultaneously and took years to come out because we wanted to be as inclusive as possible. And I'm really happy with the product for those, and I'm okay with the fact that yes, it took me years to do that. You know, I don't have a timeline, I don't do deadlines. So then we came out with issue 51 this last September, which also took more than 2 years. And I was kind of I was floundering around and not really sure how to go, and my friend Dave Berman actually stepped up and helped me to do some organizational things, and we decided to really go upbeat and be positive, and we focused on people's public service goals. And so we essentially interviewed 3 or 4 or 5 people who had specific public service goals.
Nice.
And you know, and that was good, and that came out last September. I've been thrilled with the community response to that, and for the last couple of months I've been working on issue 52, which is focused on what works for youth. And so we have articles on like Blue Ox Radio, the Mars Project, which teaches media skills to at-risk youth through the Ink people. An interview with a girl who put together the Facebook page on the earthquake from January 9th.
How's the staff organized at Steelhead? Like, how many people are you working with? You
Staff.
Just
So staff is like something that we would use in like some kind of humor thing, or telling a joke about it, you know.
So are you the staff?
I am the staff. What it is that people step up and make offers of their energy to me, and I ask too. You know, there are a number of people who really been instrumental with creating energy flow. Dave Berman, Heather Harmon, Kathy Sarabian, my parents, Jim and Penny, Lynn Dunn, the people at the Ink people. Tanya Nordberg, Libby Maynard, of course. You know, people who've stepped up, the advertisers. You know, there's a lot of people who are right there that I could not do this without. And actually,
community effort.
It's a community effort, and actually more so than anybody else, I have to say, is Brian and Julie Frith. Brian Ladd and Julie Frith have really, they've pretty much taken over the design of it, and how it looks all has to do with them. And now their daughter's involved with it too. She's an illustrator. So it's kind of a family project for them too. And they're pretty much in charge with how it looks. You know, I tell them what order I want, and I do all the editorial things. And after that, they pretty much, it's in their hands, and I'm good with that. They're, in my opinion, creative geniuses. And so the Steelhead looks like it does from, I think, issue 39 on because of their efforts.
Nice.
Well, we need to find somebody like that.
Creative geniuses are hard to come by, but you know,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, we'll probably try and advertise at the college campuses or something. Maybe somebody out there is doing this kind of work, wants some experience on a wholesome, organic, genuine, independent media project.
And these guys are it.
Joe, what do you think of the job right now that's going on with the Obama administration? Have his policies been too similar to Bush for your taste, with the upgrading of the war in Afghanistan, the continuing of all of the secret renditions, not abolishing the Patriot Act? How do you feel about the way things are going?
I'm disappointed, is the best I can say. My attitude was, let's give the guy a chance, let's cling to hope.
Yeah.
You know, let's buy into his campaign slogan. Although, just the fact that he said we need to shift the war to Afghanistan instead of Iraq left me going, he's not there with it. So I would say 2 weeks into his administration, civilian communities in Pakistan were shelled.
Yeah.
There was scores of civilian casualties. There was no apologies. They were, saying, well, that's part of terrorists hiding among civilians. There's going to be collateral damage, and that was the policy. That was the stance of this administration.
Because he's the commander on the ground, Helen. He's the one who is making sure that the situation is
How many
moving.
more people we kill?
Helen, I find it really unfortunate that you use your front row position bestowed upon you by your colleagues to make such statements. It is an honor and a privilege to be in the briefing room, and to suggest that we, at the United States, are killing innocent people is just absurd and very offensive.
Do you know how many we have since the start of the war?
How many? We are going after the enemy, Helen, to the extent that any innocent Iraqis have been killed. We have expressed regret for it.
Well, regret, it doesn't bring back a life.
Helen, we are in a war zone, and our military works extremely hard to make sure that everyone has the opportunity for liberty and freedom and democracy, and that is exactly what they're doing. I'm going to move on.
Okay, two questions. You heard the question that I addressed to Ambassador Douglas.
And at that point, I realized that things had not changed. My basic feeling is that the presidency doesn't really have the power to do anything, and it really doesn't matter what his personal intentions are with things and what he has or has not bought into. I think the advent of the Obama administration has really showed us, as did the Bush administration, that the control of this country is in the military-industrial complex. And what Eisenhower had to say on his exit speech has come to pass. And that's what's happening. And this company is, this world is controlled by Halliburton and people like that.
My fellow Americans, this evening I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell, and to share a few final thoughts with you, my countrymen. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.